I'm not one to point fingers, but you might just be getting ready to make a huge, expensive Disney World mistake, and I'm not just gonna sit back and watch it happen. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Vlog. When it comes to expensive Disney World mistakes, sometimes it feels like Disney is committing a bank heist, dropping in from the ceiling, dangling on ropes, and trying to sneakily swipe your money without triggering any of the red laser sensors from down below. Sorry, I need to stop watching the action films, but if Disney's the robber, consider us here at DFB the money-saving police, ready to catch Disney red-handed and save your money before it's too late. Yep, today we're talking about the most expensive mistakes you can make in Disney World, and you don't have to make these. Let's get into it. First is not accounting for those side fees. Not too terribly long ago, we put out a video talking about the hidden costs of staying in a Disney World hotel. In that video, we talked about a lot of different expenses that maybe you're not thinking about when you're starting to plan a budget, including stuff like airport transportation fees and gratuities, Florida taxes, and just a lot of other sneaky extra costs that can threaten to catch you off guard. But in the comments of that video, several of you also had things that you wanted to add about what we mentioned throughout the script, which I think is important for future guests to hear straight from you. And I don't want those quotes being buried in the comments section, so I'm going to pluck them out to highlight them here. Jack W. said, you might also want to consider taking out a travel insurance policy just in case you do have to cancel at the last minute. Yeah, it might add more cost to your trip, but at least you can put your mind at ease knowing that you're covered if circumstances change. And Jack notes also just make sure to read the small print under the cancellation cover so you know which circumstances come under the policy. Very, very good point. Travel insurance can provide you with that extra layer of protection so you don't have to worry about losing thousands on a vacation you didn't get to experience. Disney actually offers its own travel insurance to U.S. residents, which you can find the details for on the Disney World website, but you can also usually purchase travel insurance through airlines or other companies too, like Nationwide and AAA. I personally don't always purchase travel insurance, but if it's a very big expense or if it's several months or even a year out, then I will purchase it because you just don't know what's going to happen. Commenter Eileen said, the Magic Band discount offered for hotel guests only works if you live in the U.S. If you don't live in the U.S., you don't get the discounts because you can't order internationally. True. What Eileen is referring to here is that Disney World hotel guests can usually get a significant discount on select Magic Band designs that they purchase ahead of their trip. But this discount is not available for international guests since international guests don't have the option to pre-order Magic Bands. And that means you're going to have to pay for them full price when you're on property. Now, every now and then, the Disney Character Warehouse or Disney Store outlets that are close to the Disney bubble might have discounted Magic Bands that you can take advantage of if you're in the area. But that's not a total guarantee, so go ahead and budget an extra $20 to $45 for each Magic Band that you might want to invest in. Or you can stick with the free Magic Mobile option that the My Disney Experience app offers, which will do essentially the same things that your average Magic Band can do, like holding dining reservations and hotel room key cards and lightning lanes, etc. Commenter Kel B said, this is a great video to remind everyone of expenses you might forget, but I think it's also important to remember that you're likely going to have the bulk of these added Disney hotel expenses, regardless of whether you stay on or off property. I do recommend pricing both options. You might be surprised at the results you get. So true. When it comes to Disney hotels, those additional Florida taxes, the $100 hold for incidental expenses, the extra charge for extra adults that you add to your hotel room, and the gratuity for hospitality might impact your total Disney hotel bill, sure, but they very well will also impact any hotel bill when you stay at a hotel, even Disney's Good Neighbor hotels or hotels that aren't associated with Disney at all. So, as Kel said, just make sure you look at the fine print for your top hotel choices to see which one is actually going to be more worth the money you spend. And Alan G said, one of the best informative videos ever. Sorry, that's not really a side feed tip. It just makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, and I'm glad you guys feel that way because we wouldn't do what we do if we didn't feel like we were helping you out. So, just as a good rule of thumb, I'd recommend saving maybe an extra $200 to $300 on top of whatever you've already budgeted, just in case a sneaky additional cost that you weren't expecting jumps at you out of nowhere and throws your budget out of whack. Also, just a reminder, please drop your comments on these videos. They come in so handy for folks who are going to Disney World. We learn from them, and it's just very, very helpful. So thanks again to Kel and Eileen and Jack and, of course, Alan. Next expensive mistake you can make in Disney World, wasting dining plan credits. Say it with me, no dining credit gets left behind, especially not snack credits. If you're thinking about purchasing one of the Disney dining plans for your next visit to prepay for your meals ahead of your vacation instead of paying for everything out of pocket for all the things you eat inside the Disney bubble, then you're going to have two choices. You can either go with A, the standard plan, which is $97.70 per adult per night, and it'll get you one table service meal per night, one quick service meal per night, and one snack or non-alcoholic drink per night of your vacation package stay, along with one resort refillable drink mug. Side note, beverages are included with each meal as well, but for guests under 21 years of age, you'll be able to choose from a variety of non-alcoholic beverages, while guests who are 21 and older with valid identification may substitute for beer, wine, and cocktails too. Or you can go with B, the quick service plan, which is priced at $59.14 per adult per night of your stay, and is essentially the same thing as the standard plan, just swap the table service credit for a second quick service credit each day. Now, if you're not sure what table service and quick service are, table service is basically a sit-down restaurant, quick service is a fast food restaurant. So here's the thing about DDP credits. If you don't use them, you'll lose them, even though you've already paid for them. So if you decide you're too full to use your snack credit for the day, or you'd rather not eat at another table service and take an hour or so away from riding more rides, this isn't a situation where you can just not use those credits and be reimbursed for them at the end of your trip. Any unused credits will become money spent and wasted. The good news is that you can spend your credits whenever you want to during the course of your vacation. So even though your credits will expire at midnight on the day you check out of your hotel, any unused meal and snack credits will roll over each day of your visit, so you'll still have time to use them before it's too late. So, for example, let's say I'm using the DDP standard plan, and I just used a table service credit for lunch at Liberty Tree Tavern in Magic Kingdom. That is a whole lot of food. So much Thanksgiving food that you can pile onto your plates in an all-you-care-to-enjoy fashion, so leaving that restaurant and having to think about what you want to use your snack credit on in the afternoon might be a miserable conundrum when you're so stinking full. However, if Magic Kingdom is one of the first parks you visit during your trip, you can always wait to use that snack credit later on, like maybe during your Epcot day when you want to try more than one limited time festival item for one snack credit each. You can tell we put a lot of thought into these kinds of dining scenarios, but you have to when you're knees deep in creating digital guides to help people maximize their Disney dining plans, you know? Now the thing is, even though Disney sorts out all your DDP credits to make sure you can stretch them easily over the course of your visit, you can keep track of how many credits you have left to spend on the My Disney Experience app, so you can spend them however you see fit. And make sure every single one is used before it's time for you to head back home. To check on your Disney dining plan credits, tap the 3 stacked horizontal lines in the bottom menu, then tap on the Resort Hotel option. Here you can see details about your Disney World hotel reservation, but if you scroll down a little, you'll find a little menu icon where you can check dining plan. Tap on that and voila, that's how many DDP credits you got left to spend. You can also keep track of your credits from your meal and snack receipts, since your remaining credits should be printed on your total bill. Or you can stop by the front desk or concierge of your hotel at any time for a printout of your dining activity as well. Next up, overspending on your hotel room. This is a classic DFB tip that was true years ago, continues to be true now, and will continue to be true for the foreseeable future. Do not feel like you need to overspend on your hotel. If your 3 main hotel priorities are 1, it's close to the parks, 2, it has the early theme park entry benefit, and 3, it gives you a place to conk out each night after a full day, then the value resorts can do just that without you needing to pay for a whole lot of extra bells and whistles over at a moderate or deluxe resort. Although the deluxe resorts do have the added extended evening hours perk, they've also got a lot of premium extras that make their price point more worthwhile. That is, if you plan on making a full vacation day out of their extra offerings. So if you don't plan on spending a full day at your hotel, then don't pay for a higher end one when a value will still keep you rested, keep you clean, and keep a roof over your head. Whatever resort model you do decide to book, make sure to check out Disney World's special offers, deals, and discounts page on their website for any extra vacation package or resort savings you could apply to your upcoming stay. You know, we always say don't ever pay rack rate for your hotel. I guarantee you can get a discount at one of these hotels on property when you want to stay inside the Disney bubble. I promise they all are going to have discounts somewhere during the year, and anytime you want to go, there will be a hotel with a discount. And remember, when you book that hotel, Disney's not going to be like, hey, guess what? There's a discount. You're going to have to go find it and apply it. So it's not something that'll just kind of automatically be put onto your trip. So definitely go find it. Now, a great place to find it, as you know, is our DFB newsletter. If you're not subscribed to our DFB newsletter, it's completely free. The link to sign up is down in the description of all of our videos, and it's super super handy. You get all the Disney news, and we tell you very clearly when these discounts come out, and then we remind you when a discount is going to expire. So you're going to have a couple of reminders there so that you can make sure to get those applied to your hotel. Sorry, I just talked for a really long time. You get it. All right, next most expensive mistake you can make in Disney World, falling into the FOMO trap. I think this tip is so important because it's something I struggle with all the time. The fear of missing out can hit you at Disney World big time, and it can hit you in one of two ways. The word new has captured your attention, or you don't want to be left out of the group. Maybe a mixture of both. Recently, the high-end cake bake shop opened in Boardwalk Inn. Disney released a Lightning Lane Premier Pass tier, and the DVC Island Tower Villas at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort are just about to open. And it's so easy to be hypnotized by something that's shiny and new and promises an experience you've never had before, especially an experience you can brag about on social media. Hashtag living the dream. But all being said, new isn't synonymous with what your family necessarily needs. So before you book things based on newness alone, study up on them and see if it actually makes sense to invest in those fresh experiences and add-ons. Recently, we released a video all about the highlights and downfalls of Premier Pass, and we've also got a full review of the Cake Bake Shop on our channel too, if you're looking for a little extra guidance on making those major financial decisions. Even if a Disney World experience isn't brand new though, you can still fall into the FOMO spiral when everybody else in your group is wanting to invest in a certain experience that you really don't think would be worth your money in the end. Or like everyone in your basketball team or at the PTA meeting is saying, you have to go to this restaurant, you have to ride this ride. Guess what, y'all? You don't have to do anything at Disney World if you don't want to. And not everything is going to make sense for everybody. A lot of those people are just saying that stuff because they read it on some Facebook post anyway, and they haven't even done it themselves. Just remember that. All right, hypothetical situation. Let's say you're traveling with your group of friends who are all major Star Wars fans, and they decide they want to book reservations for Savi's workshop to build authentic lightsabers. As a casual fan, you might think that sounds fun enough, but when you look at the price tag and see that this saber is going to set you back $250, you might feel a bit of peer pressure to just hide your sticker shock and go with the majority rule, despite you knowing good and well that you're never going to use that lightsaber and it's just going to sit in the back of your closet. This isn't me giving you permission to be a party pooper all trip long. I think it's great to sometimes step out of your comfort zone and try something new. But when it comes to something like this with a $250 price tag, where you already know 1,000% that this experience will not only be a waste of your money, but might also make you feel kind of resentful towards your friends, don't be afraid to speak up about it beforehand and let your feelings be known. There will be so many things that your group will want to spend time doing all together that you should be able to agree on, but it's also okay to split up the group every now and then and let half your friends go do the fun but expensive Savi's workshop thing, while the other half goes and maybe watches Beauty and the Beast live on stage, or goes to grab an order of tachos from Woody's lunchbox to snack on. Or, I don't know, takes a nap at Star Wars Launch Bay. Not something I would ever do, of course, not speaking from experience at all, but still, a thing you can do. This isn't you turning down all the fun. That maybe you don't want to buy a $250 lightsaber and haul it home on the airplane and stuff, but your friends are still more than welcome to, and you'll just reconvene with them later on. Something else that might be useful while planning alongside your group is a nifty template, so to speak, to help y'all visualize what you need to budget for and plan ahead of the Disney World trip. That's where we come into play again. I'm so glad you found us. We've got free Disney World planning worksheets for you to use, which come with fill-in-the-blank budgeting sheets, useful tips, packing recommendations, and more helpful hints that you can use as a springboard to help you keep organized and on the right planning track before your vacation. Scan the QR code you see on the screen now, or head to disneyfoodblog.com/DisneyPlans after this. Again, totally free. We're going to send it right to your email, and you can get started. All right, next expensive mistake you can make in Disney World. Ooh, this is a new one, and this is happening a lot. Taking ride shares everywhere. Ride shares can be a great way to get you where you need to go when you're in a hurry, but unless you've saved money to use ride shares for every single one of your trips around property, I wouldn't be skimping out on using Disney's free complimentary transportation. I think people get a little bit thrown about how I feel about the Disney buses because so often the points in our DFB videos are me warning you about them, but I actually love the Disney buses. I like all of Disney's complimentary transportation. Well, I like it right now from the comfort of my home. Don't ask me how I feel about it when it's the end of the night and I'm crowded against everyone and their mother in a tight little bus. But the reason I warn you about the Disney buses is that they're not always going to be your fastest option. And I am a perpetually late person. Maybe you're like me, where you're genuinely late for everything, even though you don't want to be, and it's just how it is. If that's you, this is definitely a warning to heed. But sometimes you'll get to the bus stop and it's packed with people and you might not be able to board for the next couple of buses that come through. Sometimes you might have just missed the bus and now you got to wait for the next one, which is an extra probably 15 to 20 minutes. So if you're in a hurry to get to one of the parks by rope drop or in time for your advanced dining reservation, which, by the way, heads up, if you're late for a dining reservation, it never fails that the restaurant that you need to get to is literally all the way across the park, then yeah, you might want to spend $15 to $20 on a ride share to guarantee you make it over as quickly as possible. But if you plan your itinerary with travel time in mind, then Disney's free transportation is super convenient and free to use, even those buses. When it comes to those early morning bus trips, when you're trying to get to the parks before rope drop or early entry, try to get up and around and over to your hotel's bus stop 30 to 45 minutes early, just to plan around potential crowds and delays. This will also help you out if you're at a resort that uses an internal bus loop, meaning since you'll have to pick up guests from multiple bus stops around your hotel before you head out to the parks. In the afternoon, bus crowds aren't going to be terrible, so you shouldn't have to worry about fighting for your spot on the shuttle. Just remember that bus arrival times may be a little bit more spaced out than they will be toward the very beginning and end of the day when the demand is, well, demanding. So you might still want to plan to get your stop a little earlier if you're trying to make it to a dining reservation in time in the afternoon. And in the evening, right at park close, buses will be packed. There's no avoiding it, but they don't stay that way. Remember, the main shops in the parks do stay open for 30 to 60 minutes after everything else closes. So you can wait out the bulk of the bus lines by hanging around and shopping, buying last-minute snacks, and just savoring your last bit of time inside the park instead of rushing toward the exit like everybody else. According to the Disney website, buses generally operate from 45 minutes before a theme park's opening until 1 hour after a theme park's closing. So you should still have plenty of time to take advantage of this complimentary service, even if you don't rush to get your spot on the bus right away. Next mistake you can make in Disney World that can cost you some cash is assuming that the parks can't sell out. Celebrating major holidays in the Disney World parks comes with lots of excitement and celebration, but also crowds, lots of people. And yes, parks can sell out on those busy days. But let me backtrack here for just a second, because there's a difference between sold out days for non-date-based ticket guests like annual pass holders and date-based ticket guests. At the beginning of the year, Disney World did away with their park pass reservation system for all date-based ticket guests. So basically anyone who's purchasing a regular park multi-day ticket can visit whatever parks they want to on whatever days work best with their itinerary. However, annual pass holders and other folks who don't use date-based tickets to get into the parks still need to make park pass reservations before their visit via the My Disney Experience app or Disney website. And that means busier days throughout the year could get blocked out for these APs when demand is projected to be way higher for a specific park, or all of the park pass reservations could sell out. For the most part, though, date-based ticket holders from out of town really don't need to worry about this. When it comes to certain ultra-busy Disney days during the year, though, like 4th of July or New Year's Eve or Thanksgiving Day, the parks can still reach capacity and prevent you from coming through the gates, regardless of your park ticket status. And if that happens, that means these parks are filled to capacity, ready to burst at the seams, y'all. Disney never wants to turn anyone away, but they may very well have to for safety reasons. If you're trying to visit Disney World on one of these ultra-busy holidays, typically Magic Kingdom and Epcot on New Year's Eve, because drinking around the world, could fill to capacity early in the morning, like before 10 a.m. So in the case of an event like New Year's Eve, if you really want to be inside the park at midnight, you'll want to get there right away in the morning and do not leave. If you leave, there's a chance you won't get back in. Usually Disney World will send out notifications on the My Disney Experience app regarding capacity, so as soon as a park has hit capacity, you'll be notified that no more entry is permitted. Now, this is a rolling thing though. If a bunch of people leave, then they can let more people in. So before you head to a park on one of these ultra busy days, call the park capacity hotline. This is the park hopping hotline. 407-560-5000. This will let you know which parks have reached capacity and which ones are currently still available for you to enter. And remember, even if you can't get into one park at the moment, more than likely you're still going to be able to visit another park while you're waiting for capacity to free up at the original one. So check on them all before you throw in the towel, but have a backup plan in mind too. While you're waiting for folks to leave the parks and free up space for you, consider swinging by Disney Springs for the afternoon or hang around your hotel and see what fun activities they might have going on for the holidays. Now, I don't want you to stress. If I were watching this video, I would freak out and probably tattoo that phone number onto the back of my hand. This happens rarely. It happens maybe twice a year, sometimes not even at all during the year. But it's just something to keep an eye on and be mindful of if you are going during one of those very busy time frames. Don't expect that you can get into Magic Kingdom for New Year's Eve and then leave and go have lunch at a hotel and you're guaranteed entrance back in. It can absolutely hit capacity. It happens. Not a lot, but it happens. Next expensive mistake you can make in Disney World, not multitasking. All right, in Disney World, time is money. So if you're stuck in a long ride line, don't just stand there twiddling your thumbs. Get to planning to help pass the time and make sure you're set up for success when you get off the ride. Here are some things you can do on your My Disney Experience app while waiting in line to help make the rest of your day go more smoothly. First, place your mobile order for lunch or dinner and set it for a time that you can go pick it up after the ride. There's nothing quite like riding Slinky Dog Dash in Hollywood Studios and then getting that glorious notification that you can start heading to Backlot Express to pick up your chicken tenders and plastic cheese. Disney day well spent. Or you could check on walk-up wait lists for lounges or table service locations. Several restaurants might still have last-minute availability that you can snag if you're starting to worry that not making table service reservations was a huge mistake. 3, look over the ride and attraction waits projected on those theme park maps that'll update in real time to help you figure out where you might want to head next. 4, review showtime guides and see when you should slot one of those performances into your itinerary for the day. Laugh at your PhotoPass pictures and decide if any of them might be worth purchasing. I say laugh because there's not a single PhotoPass picture of me that's been taken on Rock and Roller Coaster or Tower of Terror that I haven't immediately cracked up over. Why am I making that face? I know that the picture is coming and my eyes still look like that each and every time. You can also give a cast compliment. I love this tip and it's definitely something you should do at least once during your trip. Cast members tend to bend over backwards to make sure our Disney World vacations are magical time and again, even if you don't see it happening. So if there's a certain cast member who really went above and beyond for your family, it only takes a second to brag about them to the rest of the company. Leave a mobile cast compliment by visiting the My Disney Experience app and search cast compliment. From there, you can enter the reason for your compliment, the location, name, hometown, and date of your interaction. And you can make your next Lightning Lane reservation. You probably won't have to worry about waiting too terribly long in line if you're using Lightning Lanes during your next park day, but don't forget to make your next Lightning Lane selection immediately after you scan in for one, so you have 3 Lightning Lanes in your inventory at all times. We're going to talk about Lightning Lanes in a little bit. And another very expensive mistake you can make in Disney World, not planning ahead. Period. End stop. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Much like you don't want to stand around and twiddle your thumbs in Disney's ride lines when you could spend that time being proactive for the rest of your park day, you also don't want to stand around and twiddle your thumbs while you're waiting to go on your Disney World vacation, since there's so much to do before you take off that's going to make your trip so much better. And if you don't start planning for these things now, you might wind up spending a lot of money on a trip that's not going to be as smooth sailing as you were expecting. That's a hard lesson to learn when you got thousands of dollars on the line. So here are the questions you for sure want to answer before you step across the Disney World threshold. Do I want to use Lightning Lanes? When it comes to buying MultiPass, which is a premium add-on that gives you Lightning Lane access for the majority of Disney's rides, so you can bypass the main queue lines in exchange for shorter lines, you'll be able to make up to 3 Lightning Lane selections prior to your visit. For those staying at a Disney-owned hotel, you can make these selections at 7 a.m. Eastern up to 7 days in advance of your check-in date for your entire stay, up to 14 days. While all other guests will be able to purchase and select their first 3 Lightning Lane multi-passes 3 days ahead of their trip, still starting at 7 a.m. Eastern. Once you're inside the park, you can make more selections once you've used up one of the Lightning Lanes you've got pre-booked, and you can continue making new selections throughout each day, each time you use another Lightning Lane. That way you've got 3 in your back pocket at all times. You can also make single pass purchases ahead of your visit too, which do not count as part of your 3 multi-pass selections, so you can still purchase up to 2 more. Lightning Lanes in single pass format for those premium a la carte ride purchases like Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind and Epcot and Rise of the Resistance and Hollywood Studios, the really, really popular rides, and have up to 5 Lightning Lanes already selected for each day. I know. It's a doozy when you first hear about multi or single passes, but we've got Lightning Lane videos up on our channel that can help walk you through this process and decide if you really need this advanced purchase or not. Don't worry, we got you covered. Next question you want to answer, am I going to need advanced dining reservations? Mark on your calendar what day will put you at 60 days before the first day of your vacation, because that'll be the absolute earliest you can start booking advanced dining reservations. If you're not planning on staying at a Disney-owned hotel during your trip, you'll need to wake up each morning for each 60 days out marker to secure more dining reservations for every day of your visit. But if you're staying at a Disney-owned hotel, you'll only have to get up early once before your trip, since you'll be allowed to make your bookings 60 days in advance plus the length of your stay, no longer than 10 days. It's also a good idea to be on the Disney World website or My Disney Experience app earlier than when dining reservations are supposed to go live. The booking window opens for ADRs on the website at 6 a.m. Eastern Time daily. That being said, it's not unheard of for these resis to go live even earlier, like 15 to 30 minutes earlier, depending on the day. Third question to answer, what are your highest priority rides and attractions? There is a significant chance you won't be able to do everything inside the parks, but that doesn't mean you can't figure out ahead of time what you want your park must-dos to be. Here's Bria for a little example.
Hi-ho, Bria the scriptwriter here. I've actually got a recent example of this for you, and it has nothing to do with Disney, but yet everything to do with Disney? Hold on, let me explain. So my husband and I went to Dollywood this year to experience their Harvest Festival, and this was going to be our second time visiting Dollywood, like, ever. Where are all my Dollywood fans out there? Let yourself be known in the comments. I would love to talk about it with you guys. But we went on a weekend when the surrounding schools were having their fall breaks, so it was packed out. Something we've experienced when going to Disney before, of course, so we were prepared and we made a list of our top 5 things we wanted to see and do while we were at Dollywood, which included seeing the Pumpkin Illuminates, riding Big Bear Mountain, grabbing Dippin' Dots. Yes, that's always a priority. Do not question my loyalty to Dippin' Dots. Seeing the new Dolly Parton walkthrough experience, and taking a picture with the Wildwood tree at night, because that thing is gorgeous and I love it. And guess what? We were able to do all of those things and then some. So despite the crowds, our expectations were actually exceeded, and that made for a pretty successful day. So in the same way, you can make a top 5 list for your Disney World visit to have specific goals in mind for each park. But once those goals are met, you can exceed them too by adding even more experiences the day of and sweetening each park visit even more.
Thanks, B. Okay, next question to answer, do I really need a park hopper ticket? Park hoppers seem like a good idea in theory. You get to do and see more parks in Disney World all within a single day or two. Depending on the time of year you visit, how long you're planning to visit, and which parks you were originally planning to visit, a park hopper add-on can cost between $65 to $85 plus per ticket. And they can be a good idea, especially if you're going on a weekend getaway to the parks and only have a single day or two to spare. They're also super handy if you're like me and you change your mind a lot. So you start the day in Magic Kingdom and you're like, I'm done with this, I want to go to Epcot. That's really handy to kind of have that insurance that you can go wherever you want, whenever you want. But they can also be more of a hassle than they're worth, especially if you've got the vacation time to fully explore each park in its own day. So before you automatically jump into getting that park hopper add-on, decide how much time you want to spend in each of the parks and what you really want to accomplish in each park. You might even find that on your weekend getaway, you'd rather spend 1 or 2 full days in 1 or 2 parks rather than have to leave in a particular one to try and squeeze in all 4. You can always change your mind once you arrive and add that park hopper upgrade whenever you get to Disney World if you decide you want it at the last minute. Just keep in mind though that the park hopper add-on does not get cheaper if you add it later on in your trip. So if you decide to get park hoppers on day 3 of your 5-day park ticket visit, you're still going to have to pay for that park hopping privilege for all 5 days, even though you've already knocked out days 1 and 2 without it. So it's better to just buy it up front beforehand and have it for all your park days, just in case you want to use it, since it'll cost you the same either way. All right, those are just a few things that could, surprise, cost you a lot more on your Disney World trip than you'd planned for. And we've got lots more videos on our channel that'll help you avoid those major Disney World mistakes before your trip, if you want to go ahead and check them out next. We've even released a video warning you about 50 mistakes to avoid in Disney World, which, despite the title, was a whole lot of fun for our team to make. And don't forget to pick up our DFB planning worksheets for free over at disneyfoodblog.com/DisneyPlans. That's a great way to kind of get started, ease into the planning of your next Disney trip. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.